I am where opera and football collide.
Tao had a long journey to the United States from Tonga, but his journey to center stage in the Opera House took much longer.
My name is Tao Pupu'a. I am an operatic tenor, and I am an immigrant from the Kingdom of Tonga.
My name is Minnie Driver. I am an actress, a singer, and I am an immigrant. I believe nothing is more American than its immigrants. So I'm teaming up with Great Big Story to celebrate those that have come here and left their mark.
When we moved to America, I was 7 years old. My parents wanted us 9 kids to have an education. And so America was the land of opportunity. I started playing football when I was 10. I was fast, I was strong. I knew that my vehicle into college was through playing football.
It turns out Tao was a pretty good linesman. So good, in fact, that when he graduated from college, he was drafted by the Cleveland Browns. But it was his taste in music that often put him in the spotlight.
Before a game, everybody's listening to rock and roll, heavy metal, and I was the person on the side listening to O Sole Mio, something to inspire me. And then I got injured, I broke the arch of my foot, and didn't know what to do because football was the only thing I knew. A year later, I just decided that I better follow my other love.
So Tao moved to New York to pursue his other passion, opera.
I didn't know a single soul here. I didn't know, how do you become an opera singer? The only thing I knew from my playbooks in playing football was you gotta have a plan. So I thought to myself, well, to meet people, if I get a job working in a restaurant across the street from Juilliard, you're gonna have operatic singers, conductors coming in.
His plan worked. He met a man who helped him secure an audition at the Juilliard School of Music.
I got into Juilliard on a full scholarship. I was sort of playing catch up because my colleagues were learning their solfege when they were 17, 18 years old.
And after 3 years of rigorous training, he graduated from Juilliard's top program. He has since traveled the world, singing in opera houses and on concert stages. And today, among opera fans, Tao Pupu'a is a big name.
I was blessed to run around and sack quarterbacks, and now I sing love songs to sopranos. I like to live in the moment, and my moment now is I am very happy to be an opera singer. To a young Polynesian that is chasing their dreams, set your goals high, dream big, and make it reality.
And we're live. Welcome to Music Matters 2020. I'm your host, Jason Tramm, and I'm delighted that you can join us tonight for our unique podcast community, where we explore the issues and challenges of the musical world in 2020 as seen through the eyes of distinguished colleagues. Please remember to subscribe to us on YouTube and hit that bell icon for the most up-to-date information on upcoming guests and topics. Please like our videos and share them with your friends and family, and get the word out there. And remember to join in the conversation using the chat. And you can, the more that join in the conversation, the better. We love to hear from our guests, and thank you so much for joining us. We have a wonderful guest today, Tao Pupu'a, who is a leading lyric tenor and singing all over, and we're delighted they can join us. And welcome, Tao.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for having me.
You've had a busy day today. I know we started a little late because you had a great big concert. What was the concert you had today?
Oh, it was a great concert here in Hartford. It was for the late Ruth Ginsburg. and it was a outdoor concert at this rose garden, and it was absolutely beautiful.
Well, I can't imagine a more someone who loved opera more than RBG. Her attending the opera and being a super in operas. She certainly was an opera fanatic.
Yes, she was. On Facebook, I have a lot of friends. We both have a lot of friends that we see their photos with her. And so I just sit there and I'm jealous and I wish I got to meet her and got to take a photo with her. But, just to sing in her honor was a blessing for me.
I think there's what an incredible tribute to have a voice like yours. Who else was on the concert? Was it multiple singers?
It was, I think there was about 8 singers, but I only knew one other person. Her name was Jana. I'm sure that you know her.
Alsakova. Sure.
Yeah, beautiful soprano. So, so we sang arias. We didn't do any duets because of COVID. So we sort of just, sang arias, and that's about it.
We always say an arias concert. That was really an arias concert.
All the number 1 hits.
Yep, with no duets, no ensembles.
Nothing.
Wow. But that is certainly for the time, and you had to be safe. And you were outdoors singing this?
Yes, it was an outdoor concert. They brought out a grand piano and lifted up that lid to its max, and off we went.
That's exciting. That's got lucky there was no rain today. My son's concert, he had an outdoor concert in Pennsylvania, got rained out. So.
No, there wasn't rain, but boy, was it cold. When that sun dropped down, it fell down to like in the 40s, 48s or something. And to look out, the audience, the people that were sitting out on the lawn, they were all cuddled up. Luckily they brought blankets and their winter jackets. But for us singers, we were dressed in concert, attire. So the gals were in their gowns and everything, and they could tell that they were freezing. But luckily they had a holding room that was warm for us to hang out at.
A warm-up room. That's good. Literally a warm-up room.
Literally.
So, Tal, let's take you back to you've got such a great story, and I want to share that with our audience. Your growth as an artist and your development comes in an unconventional manner. Tell us about how you started in music and where you started life.
Oh, gosh, started life, let me see. That is the Kingdom of Tonga. I was born and raised there, until I was 7. The youngest out of 9, and we moved from there to Salt Lake City, Utah. We are not Mormons. Everyone asks, "Oh, did you guys move to Utah because you guys are Mormons?" And no, we moved to Utah because of my mom's side of family. They were Mormons.
Interesting.
So we went and lived in Utah, and that's where I went to school and started playing football as 10 years old, and that carried me on to college, and And so the reason why I kept on playing football, is because, when you just moved into a foreign country, you don't have much, right? And so in order to go to college, you have to go to college on some kind of scholarship because we had no money. And so the only way to go to college was through some kind of scholarship, and football was the vehicle for me to go to college.
Wonderful opportunity. A lot of people take that opportunity. It's an incredible journey and pathway for many people. Did you always sing as a young man in Tonga? Was there a vibrant music community there?
The Polynesian people love to sing. I mean, they just love to sing. They love to just sit around, the campfire or roasting a pig or something and just sing folk songs and everything. I mean, I've only known one really famous opera singer that come from Polynesia. Her name is Dame Kiri Tekanoa. So that's probably the only famous opera singer that has literally come out of Polynesia. But the Polynesian people do love to sing. My parents would sing in, the church choir. My sisters would sing in the church choir. And being the youngest of 9, I would just be running around the church, hearing them practice and singing in our native language.
Now, there's lots of choral music in Utah. Did you sing in choir in high school and in public schools?
The only reason why I got into the music, into singing, is because number 8 of the family, he joined this choir class in junior high. and I would see that he would get new clothes for his concert choir. And so I thought to myself, my goodness, I want some new clothes. I'm tired of these hand-me-downs. So I'm going to join the choir so I can get some new clothes. So the following year, I joined the choir, but what happened was I got my brother's clothes, so it was a hand-me-down. So I just stuck with it and sang in the junior high choir and then high school. Yeah.
Now, being involved in football is incredibly a discipline-oriented sport with the workout regimens and the intense practices. And what did that teach you? Like, what lessons did you learn from that as you were developing and before you go to college?
Football taught me a lot. It prepares you when you have something like football, or now I'm seeing in music. The discipline it gives you, it prepares you for life in general, to be on time, to be disciplined, to be what's the word, to listen to um, directions. You know, like if the conductor says, "I want you to do this," it's just like the same thing as a football coach will say, "I want you to do this. I want you to run this route." Conductor can sit there and say, "I want you to sing it this way or breathe in this phrase or whatever." So it has taught me a lot of things. So because now I'm in music, I take a lot what I've learned from football and I brought it to my to music.
It's incredible. Everyone's got a different pathway there, and I think you have such an interesting and unique pathway. So you went to college on a full scholarship for football, and then you actually played professionally. What was that like, making the transition from college athlete to professional athlete?
Oh gosh, the transition, you just have to be a little bit quicker and smarter, and you just have to be disciplined because when you leave college, it was a sport, right? And then when you go into the NFL, it becomes a business. And so, and you the two, you have to treat it the same, but also one is more respected than the other because now it's become a job. That's where your salary and everything's coming for in the NFL. In college, you're given a scholarship and you just play. And so it was a awakening moment, but it also helped my family. I was able to help my family um, financially in a lot of different ways. Growing up in a humble home, we weren't poor because the things that really mattered we had. But I was able to help out my family with things that we didn't really have. And I believe that in life, that when you help someone out, their eye is open to better things in life, and it makes that other person that you've helped out strive to get more of what you've helped them with. And so, yeah, because I went to the NFL and I was able to help out my family, my brothers and sisters and their kids, they are going towards something that is better rather than going through that cycle of life of just repeating what one does.
Very beautiful and very well put. It's really inspirational to hear those words from someone, and especially in these challenging times that we find ourselves in. Helping people is really, I think it's going to be more important than ever to help friends and to be there for people with these challenges.
Yeah, it's really important because we're going through a really tough time, especially for our industry. Music is just live music, live performances is just suffering. And for me to have the opportunity today to perform in front of a live audience was really rewarding because, a lot of our work has been canceled this year. So for me, I had nothing to look forward to. And so I literally, literally just like stopped singing. I mean, for 7 months, I just hung out and just did nothing, watched lots and lots of Netflix.
We've all done
and,
that.
and it was just really, and it was really sad. It's a sad time in our business, but, and I noticed, and I know that a lot of people are hurting, but my hurt was that I wasn't inspired anymore to do anything because there was, I had nothing forward to look for. And so until, this concert came up, when I was asked if I could participate in this, I was like, oh my gosh. So last week I had to, start vocalizing and getting those muscles and, your diaphragm and all, and try to get it all coordinated and everything. Because a lot of people who don't know about, singing, they just think that singers could just get up there and sing. It's a muscle.
If only were that easy, right? If only were that easy.
If only it was that easy. But, if it's like someone, like if they stop going to the gym for 7 months after they've been working out, about, say, a bodybuilder been working out for, forever. And then they just stop for 7 months, binge watch, Netflix, eat whatever you want to eat and everything. It's 7 months later, if you go to the gym, you can hurt yourself, You have to take it slow and stuff. So a lot of people think that, it's like when you go to a party and they see that you're a singer and they're like, oh my gosh, a singer's here. Can you sing us something? And it's like, not really, But it was just great just to be able to sing for people live.
Yeah, that's why we exist. That's why we do the art. And I'm glad to hear that was your first back. That was the first performance back, huh?
Yeah. And it was fun. It was really fun, and I forgot how fun it was to sing and to bring joy to people's lives. Though it was really cold, but hey, that's what we have to do.
I've had my first, I've been doing virtual choir rehearsals all summer, 2 a week, and then I've been doing 2 or 3 rehearsals a week with my university groups. But I've had my first couple choir rehearsals outside, socially distanced, with masks on. But just the fact that I'm hearing real people that can hear this way and that way, and they're not in front of a Zoom screen, it's very emotional.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, have you done any conducting live outside or anything yet?
Just rehearsals. I was supposed to do an outdoor concert in Long Island. It got canceled because someone got COVID, and it was just. I was supposed to be making debuts in Europe all summer, and that all got canceled.
Yeah.
It's and that's why I decided to start the podcast, because I'm like, man, I miss my colleagues. It's like I'm used to having lots of people around me at all times, and we live on that energy, right? All the cast members and the singers I have to work with, and the orchestral players that I missed, and all of a sudden there's nothing. And I went through this kind of same depression you did. We have trees and we have the country here. I did all my leaf raking, and I got my backyard organized, which I haven't done in years. But I needed to be outside and just kind of processing the grief of losing everything so quickly.
Yeah. It's really hard. I mean, for us, we have our colleagues. So we call them up, we talk to them, and hey, what's going on? Oh, nothing, just hanging out. And, but I am happy when I see, my colleagues, when they post, if they're singing somewhere, and I'm just like, wait, you're singing somewhere? They're allowing that right now? And so, but to see the joy in their face, and now I got to experience that today. And so it was really, really awesome.
Have you been asked to do any online performances, any pre-recorded things? Has that been part of your...
I have been asked if I would do a Zoom, but I declined because I don't like the sound that the human voice produces over a computer speaker. It just doesn't make sense for me.
Those microphones just can't pick up the complexity of a tenor or a dramatic tenor voice. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. And so it's just, and sometimes you get, those glitches of the computer. And so for me, it's like, no, not for me.
Yeah, I understand. It's some people think it's better than nothing, but it's certainly not the same as being in the room with a real singer.
Well, I mean, other people like my, colleagues that have done it. Um, I'm okay for them to do it. I mean, we're all individuals, right? So if you like it, if you like to do that, then I'm not gonna, say it's not good or whatever. It's good for you, but for me, it's not for me.
So let's go back. Your career ended after an injury from the. We got that from the video that we watched before. What was it like to have to start over again after having devoted so much of your life to sport? And then when did you catch the opera bug? Was it always there underneath the surface?
Um, the opera bug, I would say I blame it on my brother, who number eight, because he was so into music that he would take a lot of the music and transpose it into Tongan, and then change the notes, the notes into the solfege into the way the Tongan people will learn how to read a music. They learn how to read music on numbers, 1 3 5 3 1, that type of stuff. So when they will learn a song on numbers, the pitches and everything, then they go back and put the words in. And so my brother would come home and he would bring recordings of Domingo, bring recordings of Pavarotti, lots of different recordings of different people. And so I didn't like it at the beginning. I really hated it. And then it just I started to like it. He'll bring home Beethoven's Ninth, and then I will start to like it and everything. And so I took hold of that, and then started singing in college and everything. And then I got drafted to the NFL by Bill Belichick, and he took me, to Cleveland Browns, where I was there. And then the team moved to Baltimore. I became the Baltimore Ravens. And then I was there, and then I got injured. I broke the arch of my foot. And Jason, when I broke that arch of my foot, everything flashed right in front of me, like, oh, what am I going to do now? Because I've worked so hard to get here, and now it's going to be taken away. And so, but the coaches at Baltimore, they really liked me, and they wanted to keep me and everything. But when they're paying so much money for a person that's injured, when they could bring someone in that's healthy, they kept me around and everything. But I had to find a way. So I went back to Salt Lake City, Utah, depressed. I felt defeated and didn't know what to do. I really didn't know what to do. And then an agent called me, and he wanted to know if I was still interested in football. And I said, sure. And he said, I talked to Bill Belichick. I talked to Bill Belichick, and he said that I should go to Canada and try to get on one of those Canadian leagues for 1 year. Then he'll pick me up, just to make sure that my injury is all better. And I got to Canada, I got injured again. And I'm like, what's going on? Because I never get injured. It was strange. And then came home, then had another opportunity to go to another football team, and I went there to that team. And one day I just woke up in the morning and I looked up to the sky, and coming from a family that believes in faith, I just looked up to the sky and I said, what is my calling in life? Because I believe that everybody has a calling in life. You just have to listen to that small voice that's within you, and it will lead you. And so it came in, and it just said, move to New York and pursue singing. So I went back to Salt Lake City and packed my bags and moved to New York. And it was really hard because I didn't know anyone in New York. And I remember my football days that if you want to be something, you have to submerge yourself into that something. And so I wanted to be an opera singer, but how do you become an opera singer? And it's like, you never had a voice lesson, you only sang in choir. And so I thought, well, the Metropolitan Opera is there, Juilliard is there. And I had money from football, and I said, but in order to meet people, go get a job so you could mingle with people. So I thought to myself, well, I'll go and be a host at this restaurant called O'Neill's Restaurant. It's no longer there on 64th Street. So I went there and I said, I didn't want to be a waiter. I did waiting when I was in college. And I went there and I said, hey, I'd love to just be a host. And they said, great. And they hired me on the spot. The reason why I picked O'Neill's Restaurant is because I knew that everybody has to eat. So conductors will come into O'Neill's. Famous people will come into O'Neill's. Like, I remember when Domingo, Beverly Sills, James Levine, all these people would come into O'Neill's and eat. And what I would do is, like in football, you study them. So I studied them like a playbook. I would look and I went, okay, Domingo's a tenor, I'm a tenor. I'm going to see what he eats because I know that eating certain food gives phlegm, and I don't want to have phlegm when I'm singing. So I watched what Domingo was eating, and you know how restaurants in New York, they're really noisy. And so it's like, is he talking really loud? Is he going to waste his voice? What is he? I noticed that Domingo leans in and he talks to whoever he's sitting with. He leans in and he talks. And I'm thinking, does he drink alcohol? Because I know alcohol dries the vocal cords. And then I watched him and he's drinking a lot of water. And I'm like, okay. So the next singer will come in. Marilyn Horne or whoever would come in. Sometimes they would drink a glass of wine. And I'm like, why is she drinking a glass of wine? And Domingo wasn't drinking a glass of wine. So I would study these people and just try to figure them out, because I was so new at it. And then slowly people from Juilliard would come in and eat, students. Manhattan School of Music will come and eat, and then we would just chat up. We would just talk. And then I'll be like, who are you studying with? And I would find out things like that. And one thing led to another. And and then a couple of years later, after being at O'Neill's, I met Dame Kiri Takanawa at a book signing at the Metropolitan Opera bookstore.
That must have been incredible to meet a Polynesian artist who of the highest order who's had such a distinguished and incredible career.
It is. Well, when I moved to New York, my dad, he said to me, when you move to New York, go and look for that Maori lady. Maori, because the New Zealanders are the Maoris. Go look for the Maori lady, and you go up to her, to Kiri. You go up to her and say, hey, Kiri, I'm Polynesian. You're Polynesian. Can you help me? And I'm like, Dad, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. But, bless my dad's heart, because when I walked up to her at a book signing, she looked up and she said, oh, what are you doing here? Do you live here? And I said, yeah. And she says, what do you do? I mean, are you a singer? And I stood there and I haven't done anything. Wait, I was singing at Regina Opera.
Wow.
Because I was just starting off, and I perked up and she goes, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a tenor. And she says, a tenor? And she goes, where do you study? And I'm like, nowhere. And she goes, you don't go to school? No. And then she goes, do you have a voice teacher? And I said, yeah. And she goes, how's it going? And I said, and she said, it's hard, right? And I said, yeah. And she goes, well, can I help you? I want to help you. Incredible. And I looked at her and I said, what? And she goes, can I help you? And I said, okay. And I remember, I don't know how I got back to my apartment in New York. I floated home or something, because next thing I noticed, I was standing in my kitchen and I was like, oh my gosh, she wants me to call her tonight. So I called her that night and we talked, and she says, I'm going to help you. And so the rest is history. 7 months later, she took me to Juilliard, where I auditioned for Brian Ziegler right there on the spot. And Brian Ziegler is like, oh, welcome. Welcome. We're going to give you, you still need to go through all this application. You still have to do all these auditions, but we're going to welcome you to Juilliard, where the scholarship is not there yet. You have to prove yourself. But, just to get the invitation was incredible. And so I
It
went
goes
through all
back to
that.
helping your colleagues. She saw someone who was unique and interesting and really wanted to learn, and passed that along to you. And what an incredible turn of fate.
Yeah, I mean, being at the right place at the right time, right? I mean, I was just there at the right,
And
at a,
being prepared, right? I tell my students,
and
you have to be
being
prepared.
prepared. And luckily, because I mentioned Regina Opera earlier, because that was the first time I ever sang with an orchestra. I've never sung with an orchestra. And I remember my first opera was Madama Butterfly. And then when I met Kiri, it was Tosca. And I remember going to rehearsal, just floating to rehearsal, going, "Oh my gosh!" I didn't tell anyone there, about Kiri, but it was surreal. And but yeah, Kiri helped me out a lot. So
Have you maintained your connection with her, moving on as your career has developed and grown?
I have, but I haven't for the past year or two. I'm sure she's angry. I mean, she's a person that likes to stay in touch. And, for me, it's like I look at someone that's a superstar, and every time I like would call her or whatever, she always picks up. But I always feel like I'm intruding. I'm always like bugging someone like, "Oh, you're a superstar." And so for me, it's like I'm not a person that likes to always, you know, and so it's my fault for not staying in touch. It's totally my fault, but what can one do?
When those with those people, they always appreciate when people touch base. It's the type of thing. Like, she's probably just as busy, even though she's not performing. She's probably teaching, master classing, doing all the things that
Yeah,
divas retired do.
yeah, that's true. But I think with people like like Kiri, who help a lot of people, they just like to uh, just to stay in contact with the people that they have helped. And it is just my fault for thinking, "Oh, why am I bugging her so much? I'm not going to call her." She's probably thinking like I'm a pest, like, "Stop calling me." But yeah, it was just my fault.
I'm a sponge. When I was around, I was privileged to be around some great opera people at a young age. I was conducting, and Maestro Silipini was my mentor, and I was his chorus master. And Silipini he worked with everybody, and he was
Right.
Corelli's pianist forever, and coached him. And when I worked with him, he would just he took me under his wing. He had no reason to. He just
Yeah.
said, "Come with me. You're my guy." He would take me out to dinner with his family, and I got to meet everyone.
Wow.
It was just those connections, just to meet people like Domingo and these great artists, and it's just life changing. And you're like,
Yeah.
I'm like a sponge. I just love to sit there and listen to everyone and talk to them. And the opera's an
Yeah.
amazing thing.
See, I'm like that. I'm more of a sponge. I like to take everything in. But for me to like always like, I just feel like I am intruding too much. I'm taking too much of their time and everything. So I just sort of stay away. But deep inside, I really want to be there. Like, I just want to be a sponge and just take everything in. It's just, coming into this field of music at a later time of my life, it was just like I had to play catch up. Being at Juilliard, everybody already knew their German and French and Italian and stuff, and here I am, and they, their solfege and everything, and here I am. I come in, and the only thing I know how to do is tackle people and
That'll come in handy in those
quarterback.
big fight scenes. Come on, that's important. Being opera being a staged art form, you has a physicality to it. You've got an advantage over pretty much anyone I know in that field.
Well, yeah.
So how did you go from Juilliard to your professional debut?
Yeah. Okay. So I was at the opera program at Juilliard. What was it called? AOD or whatever you call it. Can't remember the name. And so they would allow me to allow us singers. I think there was only about 15 or 16 of us in this class, and they will allow us to go out and do professional gigs. And so when I was there, I was able to go and sing. I did my first Mahler Das Lied von der Erde when I was still at Juilliard and everything. And but my first professional at an opera house. It was because I graduated in 2011 from AOD. Oh, I can't remember the name.
Is it JOC?
JOC.
Yeah, Juilliard Opera Center.
That's
Gotcha.
it. JOC. So Juilliard Opera Center. And so I left in 2011 and made my opera debut at San Francisco Opera. And so it was a world premiere of Heart of a Soldier about 9/11.
I knew the guy that story was based on. I knew his widow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was his name?
He was the Welsh singer. He loved to sing. He was a Welsh soldier turned security officer, right?
Yes,
the
that's him.
Yeah, I've got the signed book from his widow. I did music for a memorial service for his widow. And then I read this book, and it was such a cool thing. I got to know her pretty well. And then I watched the movie come out, and I watched this opera being premiered. I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
So that was the opera that they premiered at San Francisco, and so I was part of it. Yeah.
Wow. And what role did you play in that?
Oh gosh, that was 2011. I can't remember.
It's an interesting story. He ran back into the tower, and he died.
Right. He
Real,
ran back in the
real
tower,
hero.
and Rick. His name was Rick something.
Yeah, it'll come to me. I remember. I've read the book, and I'm like, this is the story of the person whose wife I met, his widow? Like that. It was such a random thing.
Yeah, it was a interesting opera, but really heartfelt, and music was beautiful. I'm surprised that they're not doing it.
It's very difficult with modern operas to get the second performance, right? I mean, there's just so much at stake, and it's just so expensive. And if an opera company takes a risk, it's a challenge. Like they take a very occasional risk with modern music. It's
not an Aida where you could play everywhere.
People love the music, and they're going to come because they love to hear Celeste Aida and to watch the see if the tenor can get that B flat and pianissimo and diminuendo.
Well, a lot of those operas, of the old time. There's, you walk out of the theater and you hum something. There's something you could hum to. A lot of the new work, is there anything that you could hum to? It's difficult.
The joke I hear is I had a lot of friends. Now, I like Philip Glass somewhat, but my friends who went to Akhenaten were saying I walked out humming the set.
That's good. That's brilliant. I like that.
You're not going to get a lot of melody if you go to John. It's more about the rhythmic patterning and that type of thing. You have to know that going in. If you're expecting Puccini and you get Schoenberg, it's going to be a long night at the theater.
Well, another great person, but they don't do his opera often, is Floyd. Susanna is good.
That's a great. I love Susanna. Susanna's one of my favorite operas.
I'm surprised that they don't do that more often.
I don't think it's ever been done at the Met. Has it been Susanna done at the Met?
Didn't they do it once?
Maybe they did. With Sam Raimi and Cheryl Studer, maybe.
Did Renee Fleming do it? No.
Maybe she did, I guess.
I can't remember.
Yes, she did. That's right. And maybe Sam Raimi did the recording, which is one of my favorite Olin Blitches.
Oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite pieces. I remember Samuel Raimi singing that at the Tucker Gala.
Oh.
It's
on YouTube. That's on YouTube. Everyone can see it. They should watch it. It's amazing. He just snarls. And I did a concert with him late in his career, and I got to drive him around between the rehearsals and the show, and we were talking about it. And he's just such a great guy to talk to. He's very, very personable, very down to earth.
Yeah, I like big opera stars like that who are just very down to earth.
He forgot his shoes for that performance, if I remember correctly, and he came out in cowboy boots. And he said, "You may wonder why Samuel Raimi is wearing cowboy boots." He was so fun to work with, just a lovely guy.
Yeah, he sounds like a great guy.
That's the reality. Our legends in the field are usually wonderful people, and they work so hard to get there. So
yeah. So and they're really cool, and they're really great to talk to. For me, coming, into this field of opera and to meet, what you're talking about, these great singers of the past and stuff. Raimi, I remember meeting Jessie Norman for the first time. I just stood there and looked at her, and just meeting even Domingo Carreras. I only met Pavarotti once at a book signing. Remember when there used to be that. Barnes and Nobles,
sure,
no longer there.
That place was huge in its day.
So that's the only time. But just meeting, those mega stars, for me, it's just like I just want to hang out with them so I can hear stories.
And the stories are always amazing. I got to hear all the stories of Corelli and that generation of singers, and it's always amazing to hear these and to talk with you. I used to hire some of the old timers from the Met Chorus, and they would tell me stories about Bjorling and the generation before I was born. And it was just fascinating to hear some of the stories and the history.
So you're a great guy. You're a great guy to have lunch with, just to hear all those stories.
We should definitely get to that. It's always fun to swap war stories, and I got a few of my own.
Yeah.
The one thing about our business is you get a lot of stories.
Yeah, a lot of great stories.
Now, what are some of your most commonly sung roles? I know Tosca's up there for you, right?
Yes, Tosca. I think in the Italian rap, Tosca is number 1, and then I think the next one is Aida. German. I don't sing much German, but the most. Tosca I've done the most. I bet. And Ariane Naxos, Bacchus. Yeah, I've done that a couple of times. And what other roles? I've never done a trovatore. It would be nice to see. To sing a trovatore. But I've done Carmen. I think I've done about maybe 10 roles, opera roles.
And what's the biggest challenge? What's the biggest challenge of learning a new role for you as an artist?
It all depends. If it's a new piece, then it's the rhythms. The rhythms, and those new pieces are like tricky. It's really tricky.
Yeah,
and also
odd meters and new harmonies
and finding your pitch. You have to sing against a flute that's playing one pitch, and you have to sing against it. It's like, what? And it's but let me see, the most challenging I think would just be to tell the story, what the composer really wanted, and what the what the story really means, rather than what you think it means, but just to tell the story, because you could hear a lot of the storytelling in the music itself, and you can hear it in an aria, the setup to what you're going to sing about. Like if you were to listen to Una Fortiva Lagrima, you would hear the beginning of that, and you already know it's something tender and sad or something. It pulls. So it's just to tell the story. That's for me.
In that particular aria, you can tell the whole story because it's such a long introduction. The bassoon loves that piece.
That introduction is beautiful, though. It's just absolutely beautiful in the aria itself. Yes.
That's a great way. I always like to conduct bel canto repertoire. Now, you've steered toward mostly the spinto repertoire, correct?
No, I love singing bel canto repertoire. I've done Norma. I've sung Norma Polione.
I saw you did Norma with my friend Rochelle Ellis. Rochelle Bard.
Bard, yes. Oh, you know Rochelle? Yeah,
I know her.
Really cool. She's really cool. Yeah, and Norma is fantastic. It's beautiful. The music itself is beautiful, and all that. I love Verisimo. Opera. No, I sing whatever is comfortable for my voice. I've done Cat Hag a couple of times.
Did you sing both roles? Did you do both roles in that?
Yeah.
Wow, that's unusual.
Yeah.
That's very unusual to sing both roles.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. Yeah. I don't sing Mozart, but I would love to sing Mozart, like a Idomeneo or something like that, a heavier Mozart.
Do you like the Fuor del Mar in Idomeneo has such great fioritura and fast runs, and I did the Jersey premiere of that piece for my doctoral recital, and I just fell in love with it. I just fell in love with that opera. It's a strange bird, but it's got such fiery music in it.
Yeah, I learned just that aria just for my audition.
Fuor del Mar. That's great.
Yeah, and so for me it would be a challenge, but it would be a good challenge.
So you like the challenge. You like to approach new repertoire and new. I think it's great. Some people, they just do this. I do this. I only do this.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I know a lot of people, like they would just, no, I only sing spinto rolls, or I only sing this kind of roll. For me, I sing from lyric to lyrical spinto to, you know, whatever fits my voice. And I usually will know about it when, after I look at the piece I have to sit with the piece for a week.
Now, have you had a voice teacher for a long time? Have you been with one voice? Have you been with many voice teachers? How has that worked as your voice has grown and your career has launched and now you're in career?
Well, when I first moved to New York, I had a voice teacher. She passed away. Well, I think she was 100. Yeah, she was 100. She passed away, and she was one of those old school teachers, like just old school. And I enjoyed her very much. And I had her, but when I got into Juilliard, they said I can't study with her. I have to study with someone at the school. And I was like, well, that's a shame, And so I had to study with someone at the school. But I mean, since I've been in New York, I've had about 3 voice teachers, different ones. Voice teachers are tricky, and so you just have to find the right one, the right fit.
That seems that it is like a challenge for singers. Having worked and coached singers and worked with singers my entire career, to see what like the right voice teacher can be an incredible help, but there's only a few like that'll actually make an impact, like that impact that that really need.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like the connection of you and the voice teacher. It's like in football, the connection between you and the coach. If you get each other, then you're going to play fantastically and everything. Voice teachers, if you get each other, then you're going to sing fantastic, because it's the power of the language, right? So if a voice teacher says, like, you must narrow through here, or another voice teacher might say you must squeeze through here. So squeezing for me will be like squeeze.
Not gonna work.
It's not going to work. But for another singer, might go, oh, just squeeze, like squeezing through, or to narrow. So they might get it. So for me, it's the language of a voice teacher that clicks with that person, but also the energy of a voice teacher. If a voice teacher has a great energy, a positive energy, an energy that they want you as a singer to achieve and to be great, then that you will get that kind of energy. I'm not talking about energy of like sugarcoating, because sugarcoating energy is like the worst, because you're just setting up that singer to get up there and sing badly, and people are going to like, and also the voice teacher, when you get up there to sing, you're representing them as a teacher because they're studying with you. So it's just tricky with voice teachers. They could be a great voice teacher, but if the language doesn't click with you of knowing what to do, then it's tricky.
I've watched singers in my career who have had real vocal challenges find the right teacher and then just launch right to the top. We're at the Metropolitan Opera. They're all over the world. And it's amazing that a lot of people are really close, and it's just making those fine-tuning adjustments, or getting the right, like you said, the right coach, the right mentor, the right language that clicks and resonates.
It's so true. It's so true, because you would see a singer, like exactly what you said, you would see them 2 years ago, right? Then all of a sudden they're singing at the Met, they're singing at, Vienna, La Scala, and all these places. And you're like, oh my gosh, 2 years ago they were just okay, but wow, they're fantastic. It all depends on that teacher. But it's not all the teachers doing. It all depends on the singer, the individual itself, if they're going to go home and do the homework and concentrate on what the teacher has told them. And it's a team. It's not just like, you're going to make me a star, so make me a star.
That
it's
never
not
works.
that way. It's like, yeah. I'm gonna help you. It's like what Kiri Te Kanawa says. She says, I'm gonna show you the door, but it's up to you to walk through that door.
Absolutely. That's sage advice for any young person too out there listening. Young singers, we have a lot on the program, is that, it's the great teacher it can really give you, but it's your job to get everything else in line, to do the practicing, to do all the preparation work.
Exactly. It's, and I was lucky enough that football helped me out a lot because, if I have a game tomorrow, I won't be out drinking tonight or going to a party or socializing. It's just like in singing. If I have a concert tomorrow or a performance tomorrow, I'm not going to be up late tonight. I'm not going to be like, wasting my voice talking with my roommates or family or whoever, or doing whatever that's going to harm my performance of tomorrow. I'm going to be taking care of myself tonight. So tomorrow when I wake up, I am fresh, I'm ready to go. And then you go at it. Because when that curtain goes up, it's you. It's not your voice teacher. It's not the conductor. It's not the stage director. It is you. It's your butt that's standing up there when that curtain goes up, and you better deliver.
Good, great advice. That focus and that intensity. And now here's a question I've never asked on this show before. What made Bill Belichick such an incredible coach?
Exactly what I said. He's very focused. He's very, he doesn't go out partying. He's focused on his work. When we would come into our meetings I almost said rehearsal, but it's called practice. Football practice. It's not football rehearsal. When we would, come into our football practice and everything, he's in the moment all the time. He's watching, he's taking notes, and always in the moment. And if he wants to give you a note, you take that note. So it becomes, when he gives you something, a note, you don't sit there and go, yeah, I know it. You take that note and you're like, oh, okay, And something that I really took was when a coach came up to me, and I remember, I think it was, I forgot what team came in and we were practicing against them. And he came up to me and he goes, Tal, do you know the reason why, all these coaches are giving you advices? They're not. And I said, why? And he said, it's not they're picking on you. They want to make you better. Because he said, when a coach stops talking to you, that's when you need to start to worry, because they have given up on you and they don't want to do anything, deal with you anymore. They're done with you. And I brought that to my singing. I'm thinking to myself, if a conductor doesn't talk to me, if a conductor's always, or a director always like giving me notes, Tal, you got to do this. Tal, can you do this? Tal, no. That means they care about you. If they don't care about you, they'll just like conduct and look away or whatever. Why is this person here? And I've seen that happen.
Yes,
but
it does happen. Some people don't listen to instructions. And when you're working with a singer who just knows everything, generally I've been in a position to hire casts. And I always do my homework before I hire anyone. I always ask everyone who's been in a cast with that person before, I'm like, what's this person like to work with as a colleague? And you find out instantly if there was any problems. So there's very little of that in a lot of the jobs I tend to hire. But it's, but you find out some people just can't take instruction or can't be good colleagues. It's really a challenge for those people.
It really, well, it's not just a challenge, but it's for a conductor, but it's also a challenge for the people that has to work with that person.
One of the hardest things I ever had to do was fire someone in a production who was just disrespecting the stage director, the colleagues around him. And this was someone I was friends with and did a job with in Europe. And I was there for a month before with this person, and we had no issues. Then we got to another production, and that was my production that I had. It was a big deal. And there was all sorts of issues that were not related to the stage. There was something personal, I guess, going on with this person. But in the end, this is a business. This is a job. And there's a certain way you have to behave. And the other people in the production were like, thank you. We couldn't be in the dressing room with this person. We couldn't be in the room with this person.
And it happens in life, in life in general, even in football. You have someone that just doesn't get along with the team, or someone that's just. It happens in life, and in life is like for me it's like, well, luckily I was brought up in a good family, because my parents will always say, when you go around in this world, you just have to be a good colleague, because you never know when you're going to call on that person for help, or whatever, or you never know if that person knows another person that's higher up the ladder than that person. You never know. And so for you just to, live a good life.
I tell my students that like it's a very small business. Like everybody knows each other. If you wanted to know about any other singer, you just have to ask one of our mutual friends and say, "Hey, what was it like in this production that you just did?" And everyone's pretty honest, and we're all friendly, and
Yeah.
it's people business too. You have to get along with people.
Yeah, you have to get along with people. But I think a lot of it has to come with insecurity and everything if you're not really prepared. That's why in football, we were always so prepared before you go to a match, a football game, because you don't want to show up and play against another team and you're not ready because you haven't practiced, you haven't done your homework on them, on the person that you're playing across from. And it's just I bring that into my music. Is that if I'm gonna do, like I did this one work out in an opera in England. It's Michael Tippett's Icebreak. Yeah, I think it's called Icebreak. And I think that might be the most challenging role that I ever sung. It just it was really amazing. But what I'm getting to is that it was me and this other girl. We came from America, so we were in England, and the rest was British singers and all. And so when we got there, and I think this piece was premiered in the 70s, I believe, Michael Tippett. And so when we got there, and the first day is the first rehearsal. You run through the music and everything. And so we ran through the music, and I remember the director, Graham Dick. You know Graham?
No, the name certainly a legend in the field too.
Yeah, director everywhere. So what he sat there and he looked at us and he goes, good job, you two." And then this gal, British, she turned around, she goes, "Of course, Americans." And I guess but she meant it in a good way. And I guess what they say in Europe is Americans, they always show up prepared. I don't know if it's true, but this is what I've heard.
That's a good reputation to have. Sure beats the alternative.
Because we did, but it was from my football days that I did show up prepared. I showed up. I knew my lines, and I knew my notes, and I knew what was going on in the story. It was just like, now direct me, tell me what to do, where to go, and to the conductor, where do you want me to breathe? Do you like this phrasing or do you not like this phrasing? And so it was just one of those things. So preparation, number one.
Now, have you done any teaching yourself? You have so much to teach young people. Have you done any coaching and teaching?
No, I'm more of a sponge. I take in a lot from other people, and I like to sit back and watch and just learn. But I do, like, if someone comes up to me with a question or whatever, I try to inspire them to be their greater good.
Well, I just have to tell you that I was doing a project with a young person who was in the chorus for you, and you did Butterfly with Connecticut. And she spoke so highly of you as an artist and as a person, and I was happy to hear that. This before it was just great to hear that from someone who was in the cast with you, and was just amazed by how hard you worked and how generous you were with everyone in the cast. So,
well, that's nice. I always find that if to have fun, just to go out there and have fun. Meaning, for me, I like to. When I look at the chorus people and everything, I know that they worked as hard as I have. And so I go up to them and, I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" I just talk to them. And sometimes I pull out my cell phone, let's take selfies. And they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" And they're like, "Okay." So I just become friendly with everyone from stagehand to people to, people in the orchestra and everything. And I noticed that when I reach out and just be friendly with everyone, people put their guards down. And then once people's guards are down, then you could have fun and you could make music and perform an opera.
I'm the same way as a conductor. I get to know everyone. I love the chorus members. I was a chorus master when I started conducting, and to get to meet the chorus, like a bad chorus ruins a production. It just ruins a production. It's like great singing, blah. Just the energy gets sucked out of the room. So I'm very take that very personally. Anyway, I just love the different. As an opera conductor, I love the technical crew, because opera is such a team sport that
it really is.
One part of the team fails, everything can go wrong.
I did an interview once, and they asked, and I do agree with what you said, but there's something that it's almost yes and no. Coming in into opera. Opera is a team sport like football, but when it comes to soloists, it's not really a team sport. Everybody wants to be the quarterback. Everybody wants to throw that touchdown pass. The soprano wants to throw the touchdown pass. The tenor wants to throw the touchdown pass. The baritone, the bass. Luckily we have the chorus, the maestro, the orchestra, to bring all those soloists into a family, into one. Because if there's none of that gelling, those soloists just want to be the quarterback. They want to throw that touchdown Super Bowl pass.
Can't blame them. That's what the conductor wants too, is everyone to be the best and have everyone up there putting their energy into it. And my job as a conductor is make it easier for the singers to read their body language, their breathing. Because if someone doesn't have enough breath or less breath on a high note, they dictate that. I've got to watch that and feel it with them. And I love that part. I love the being in the moment of opera. There's nothing like an opera production when you're in the moment and everything can change. And I love
that's
energy.
That's the best type. Thank you for saying that. That is the best type of a conductor a singer will love, is a conductor that breathes with you, watches you, and exactly what you said.
My mentor, Silipini, was like that, and he worked with everyone in the business. They all loved working with him. He would be in the pit. Someone was nervous. He would wink, and he's like, I got you. I'm here. No matter what, I'm here. I watched that. I'm like, oh, and that's that connection with people. It's hard enough. Some conductors actually make it harder to do your job, and I don't agree with that. It's not my philosophy personally.
Yeah.
A famous singer I worked with told me he was singing in La Scala, and I think with Riccardo Muti, and he said that Muti, he's like, he didn't care if a tenor cracked. He didn't even look at you sometimes. It was a very challenging atmosphere. He said it was very challenging and difficult to work with because, and I was always like, well, it's hard enough to be a singer. The demands on an opera singer are so challenging. And from day to day, you can have a not be feeling as well. You have allergies. There's just a million things that can go wrong. But when people are relaxed, they're willing to, give a little more. And
that's the truth. And, for singers, I believe is that if the chemistry between the singer and the conductor is good, it's like we are on this together, it's going to be a fantastic performance and all. But if there is a little bit I didn't hire you, I wanted someone else and they brought you, so it's going to be really hard on the singer but also on the conductor, and so how can you make magic just because you didn't like that person you didn't hire?
That's the business. How the business can be a real challenge sometimes.
You just have to, and to the people the young people who are listening or whatever, you just have to just keep going. Even because you're there. Once you're there, you're there. So just life it might be hard in those rehearsals and everything, but you can always win someone over. You just keep on going and work really, really hard. It's like going into a new football team. You go in, you don't know anyone. You go in and you just work your butt off and you just keep on, producing the goods and everything. And next thing you know, you have everyone, cheering you on and everyone playing with you. And so you become a team.
That must be interesting. I know nothing about it. I mean, I watch football. I've enjoyed it in my life, and I have one football story. I was doing a Verdi Requiem rehearsal for a big concert. I was doing a big Verdi Requiem, and I was working, and some gentleman walked up to me. In the summer, I work at Ocean Grove. It's a 6,000 seat venue, and the doors are open, so people come and walk in. They'll watch the rehearsal. So I finished up the rehearsal with the chorus. A very tall gentleman walks up and starts talking to me. And he obviously is not a musician or a music, but he loved music. He loved the rehearsal, loved the music. And the more he talked, the more I'm like, this guy looks familiar. And I saw he had a Pro Bowl ring on. And I'm like, oh. So it was Mark Gastineau of the Jets, who was a famous.
Wow.
He was a great guy. Anyway, we became pretty friendly, and he came and watched the Verdi Requiem performance. And we'd stop every time he comes to Ocean Grove in the summer, where I live in the summer. He'll come and visit. And
wow!
He really enjoys the opera. It was kind of fun that someone I would never think that And he was singing in his church choir with his wife. I love these stories.
I love it. Football people, they love music. It doesn't matter what kind of music you listen to. You can listen to rap, rock and roll, heavy metal, or whatever. Music is music. If a music inspires you to be great in what you do, then go for it. Listen to that music and let it inspire you, and let it take over you, and just be it, And for me, it's like, now, because I've done this concert tonight, I have that feeling again, after 7 months of just nothing. Because I was in Australia when this COVID thing really hit. So, and I was about to do a world premiere opera in Australia, and then it hit, and then I came back home to New York, and then everything just canceled, left and right. So I was really, really happy to have someone say, "Hey, you want to come and sing this concert?"
It's so exciting to hear you or sing up, making music for people again, doing what you were born to do. I think keep it's going to come around. You just keep yourself ready to go.
We just have to stay positive and and help each other out. And what you're doing here with this live stream and podcast is amazing, and I think it's fantastic, because for those for people to see and to hopefully be inspired.
Well, you can't help but be inspired by your story and by your just humanity. So thank you so much, Tao. It's great to get to
thank you so much,
know you better, and I want to wish you the continued success. And let's get lunch one of these days.
Hopefully. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on Music Matters 2020. Please remember to subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and share our videos. And remember, we have our next show on Thursday with a noted choral composer, Dan Forrest. He has a huge career in the choral world and has got thousands of choirs singing his music. He's really quite a delightful composer in person. Hope you'll enjoy that. And thank you for joining us. And remember, keep music alive. Good night.